take you to matters back home. The Midvaal municipality is urging residents to stop buying stands on Elandsfontein plots from Ntha Property Developers. Now, the municipality says the developer has not yet complied with all planning processes and the area remains a non-proclaimed township. I'm joined for some clarity now by Mokete Motsamai, who's the MMC for Development and Planning in the Midvaal local municipality, joining me in studio. Very good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for having me.
You've warned residents to refrain from purchasing any of the houses or the stands by this proposed developer. Why is that? Give us some ground on the background story.
All right. I think it's a good point to start maybe from the background. So around 2019, we were made aware by some of the residents near the development in Elandsfontein. And the complaint was that from the residents that they are seeing a development starting up and buildings going up, and from what they understood, they have never seen any notices for them to comment on a development. Mm-hmm. As soon as we were made aware of such a development, we sent out our inspectors to Elandsfontein to really verify what was happening. And indeed, on arrival, we did find that there is a development of some properties there. As soon as we were made aware, we issued a number of notices because we had picked up that indeed there was no applications on our systems. And then we tried to reach out as much as possible to the developer to make them aware that what they are doing is illegal, because they had already started a campaign of advertising for the stands, inviting people to basically buy there. And I think by then, a number of people, if not many people, had already bought into the development. But after following that process, still the developer did not come to our offices to rectify or at least seek advice in terms of following the processes. We then followed it up with another notice and a final notice because the construction was still continuing at the time. Then still, because we picked up that the developer was still not wanting to comply or whatever the case may be, we then approached the court so that we can get a demolition order. What was said at the time is by the time we obtained a demolition order, a number of people, in actual fact more than 50 people, had already paid into the development and bought stands, and some of them had already occupied some of those houses. I had a number of meetings with some of the community members to also make them aware that what they bought into was basically illegal. And then from our side as a municipality, we also ran a number of campaigns to make the communities aware, especially those that were still intending to buy into the development. But sadly, still many of our communities, for whatever reasons, they continued to buy into the development.
So how did this developer now start the process of advertising before the formal gazetting of the approval of the township took place?
Absolutely. So it just shows that the developer never had any intentions of having this development legal within our jurisdiction. So as a municipality, we've got a responsibility to protect our residents and also anyone that is a resident of the municipality. So it's quite sad because what we later even picked up was that the developer was not even the rightful owner of this particular property. So which means everything that was happening there was illegal. Even the services, they had connected to the ESCOM services illegally, municipal services illegally, and all of those kind of things. So from that aspect, you can already tell that you are not dealing with just an ordinary developer that for some reasons they are still following processes. In this case, it was someone that is intentional and is not even willing to try and comply. Then we managed to get some demolition orders. So we actually managed to get a demolition order. We were able to demolish all the properties that were not occupied as per the court instruction.
So some others have already been occupied?
Yes. So those that are already occupied, unfortunately, the order was quite clear that unless if we provide alternative accommodation to those people, we cannot demolish because already they had occupied. But it doesn't mean the settlement or the development is legal. It just means the municipality still has to follow other processes to seek legality. But what is quite sad, is that that happened in 2019. We've now picked up that the developer has started advertising again within our area for a different property, not exactly the same one. So clearly this person is running a syndicate, because recently we were also made aware that they've started an illegal development in Kimberley Park within the jurisdiction of the city of Joburg. But within, I'm not sure the processes that the city is following, but from our side, we are really following all the legal processes to make sure that this person doesn't continue taking money from our people under false...
And the person will continue. I mean, as you and I speak, he or she or them are probably continuing with that. Why aren't you now taking this to the police? I mean, you've got the legal part of it taking place, but what about opening a case with the police?
For now, in terms of the processes that we are supposed to follow on our side, we have opened or we have started the legal process, but because it's more town planning processes, we are taking them on town planning matters. For the residents, especially those that have already bought into the property, it's them because they've suffered some loss that can open cases, especially those that have lost the houses that they've paid for, or those that are already paying, or whatever the case may be. But from our side, we are following the legal processes in terms of approaching the court to get an interdict to stop this person from continuing to do this. Because
so did the person defy the first court order? Because now we're speaking about a second court order.
They actually went ahead and even misled the community to say they have actually won that particular order.
I would imagine such a person would be behind bars.
That's how, in actual fact, if our justice system was operating the way we, as laymen people, are hoping it should be like that. But unfortunately, the lengthy processes are ending up costing our communities.
So what are you going to do about it? Because this is... escalating into something that will become far worse. People have already lost their monies, and I would imagine that they too want their money back.
Exactly.
Have you received any complaints and inquiries at all? Are you assisting some of those who may have put some money and invested into this, thinking these are legitimate developers, only to find that they haven't even followed processes?
Well, we actually advise those that have already bought and paid monies to this particular developer to follow legal processes in terms of recouping their monies, because this development has no chance of being legal by any chance. The houses are already occupied. There's no building plans. There's no studies that have been done in that property for us to satisfy ourselves that the development does meet a certain criteria for us to even consider it. So that is one process. But what we are also trying to do is prevent this from continuing by making our communities aware that it is actually an illegal developer. While we are following other legal processes, what we have started as a municipality is go out on an aggressive campaign to make our communities aware that the development is not legal, it's not approved by the municipality, and at this stage, especially going by the initial development, it's clear that they are not intending to. And what is worse
So which areas, if you don't mind me interrupting, which areas have they moved to start another process of development? And has anything been done to bar them from continuing there?
So the initial project or development was actually in Elandsfontein. So they just moved to an adjacent properties also within the vicinity of Elandsfontein. What is said is they already went out on an advertising campaign to get people to buy in, whereas there's no approval for that development as yet. So that is where we stand. I've also seen that they are now in the city of Joburg, Kimberley Park, and other areas. I'm hearing that they are also in Tshwane and all of those kind of areas.
So are you saying, are you talking about a billboard that's putting the houses for sale and showing a breakdown of what they would look like?
They have billboards, they've got...
So there's no way, as a municipality, that you can have them taken out?
The billboards, we have started the process of taking it out. I must just check with the office, but I know from our side we have given them an instruction to remove it within 7 days. If not, then we are going to get our service provider.
So who is the developer? I mean, are we speaking to a specific individual here that clearly should be arrested almost immediately?
I know we've tried to get the developer to come to us. We have never seen their face. In actual fact, in all the meetings that we've attempted to have a discussion with them, it's not actually the management or the developer or whoever that comes. What they or the people they rather send is their estate agents, which is people that literally know nothing about the town planning process.
Do you think you're dealing with the construction mafia?
I think it could be even worse than that. Judging by how much has been lost by many of our communities, community members who have paid into this development, and the fact that many of them have been to their offices, the guy is nowhere to be found, and the management is nowhere to be found, and they are continuously misleading our people.
So as you send out this very strong warning to people who may be watching, living in the same vicinity, you know, how do they identify that this developer, do they have it written down as Ntha Property Developers? How do people identify and alert? I mean, do they alert you? Do they alert the police? I would have thought that someone would be behind bars.
Absolutely. That's what we would have hoped for also. So what we're encouraging our communities to do is before they buy into any development, it's always safer to check with the local authority, either the municipality locally or the city, to check if the development is literally legit. This one, they go by the name of Ntha Properties. They've got billboards all over, in some areas in actual fact within Midvaal and some areas within the city of Joburg. And they also have estate agents in other areas such as Soweto and all of those kind of things. And what they always advise people to do is to get personal loans of about 200,000, 300,000 so that they can buy into this.
Very concerning indeed. I hope that you'll come to studio and tell us that arrests have already been made. Speaking there to Mokete Motsamai, who's the MMC for Development and Planning in the Midvaal local municipality, speaking there about a syndicate seemingly operated by the construction mafia in the Midvaal area.